How's everybody doing? This is going to be reverse dieting. We talk about calorie deficit, and then we have to eventually pivot into a reverse diet. So what in the heck is a reverse diet? You guys will all go through it. If you want to lose fat, if you want to drop weight, you're going to go through this. A reverse diet is where we start going the other way here, and we start increasing your calories over weeks, over months, very slowly. So a couple of you in here are already going through this process. Some of you are going to be beginning. Eventually, all of you will have gone through this because you can't just stay in a calorie deficit forever and expect to continuously get results. And I'll explain a little bit of that why, but eventually we have to pivot and start letting you eat more, right? So let's say you come in, you're eating 2,000 calories. That's your maintenance, and we want to lose weight. We got to get you under that 2,000. Eventually, though, we can't keep decreasing 1,200, 1,100, 1,000, 800. You'll starve yourself, right? So eventually, we have to increase, and you'll continuously lose fat. We have to do so in a way that's going to allow you to keep as low fat on your mass as possible. So reverse dieting means slowly increasing your calorie intake, again, over weeks or months to prevent weight gain as you return to your previous calorie levels, right? Let's return to that 2,000 calorie diet that we started with in the beginning. So you're progressively increasing calories over a certain period of time to boost up your resting metabolic rate, which is your RMR, back to its original or close to its original rate. So what the heck is RMR? So your resting metabolic rate is the calories and the speed at which your metabolism has to function and work in order for your body to stay alive and function properly while you're doing absolutely nothing. So that's lying in bed, maybe winking every couple of minutes, twisting your finger or wrist every couple of minutes, doing absolutely nothing, lying in bed. Your body needs a certain amount of calories to survive. That's your RMR. That's liver, that's gallbladder, that's your brain function, that's stomach, anything that has to do that's not voluntary is your RMR. So for example, my RMR is probably somewhere around 1,800 calories, maybe 2,000. Between that range, that's what my body needs just to function normally without asking it to build muscle, without asking it to get rid of fat. And so if you're eating too low of calories, below that RMR for too long, that's when we start running into trouble. So that's why there's so much trouble in people who want to eat 1,200 calories, 11, or just don't eat enough. They can't lose the fat because their body's in starvation mode. It's like, what the heck do I have to do in order to survive optimally? And you can't ask your body to perform at its best if you're not even giving it the food it needs to do that. So why do you reverse diet? One, to start increasing your metabolism again. When you go into a calorie deficit, your metabolism is going to slow down slowly over time. It's normal. That's what happens. But you've heard a couple of you have heard me tell you, hey, we can't stay down here for too long, and we're going to come bring you back up. That's what I mean. We don't want your metabolism slowing down for too long because that's going to counteract the weight loss, fat loss that we want. We want to maintain your results, right? So you're lowering calories, which means lowering carbs, which means lowering protein. In the grand scheme of things, that's not going to help you build muscle. So we want to keep those results, but don't counteract them in all the work we just did. Oftentimes, example for bodybuilders, they cut calories so much, they look super, super lean. And an inexperienced bodybuilder may start reverse dieting and increasing calories too fast, right? Post-show, donut, pizza, etc. They're going to start packing on a lot of fat because they didn't do it slow enough. We want to reestablish healthy hormones, right? Leptin. So we have leptin and ghrelin. Leptin is the hormone that decreases your appetite. So when leptin is released, your brain tells your body, hey, I'm not hungry. Ghrelin, that's the exact opposite. If you have a lot of ghrelin in your system, hey man, I'm super hungry. You got to feed me, right? The more muscle mass you have, the more ghrelin is going to be released. The more stress you have, the more ghrelin is going to be released. And so we want that leptin if you're trying to lose weight, lose fat. And these hormones can get out of whack if we're at a calorie deficit for too long because our metabolism's now shot. So in a reverse diet, what changes? One, your nutrition. Two, your cardio. we slowly, very, very slowly have to increase calories over a period of time. So that way we're not putting on fat, and now we're fueling your muscle to build fueling your body to build the muscle that it needs and that you want. And also we want to start lowering cardio. Cardio is just another way to easily be in a calorie deficit and burn more calories. So obviously, if we want to get out of that deficit a little bit, let's cut some cardio. How do we apply this into your program? When we talk about your success map and your kind of roadmap in the program with us, you start out day one, best day of your life. You just joined the Girardi Performance Program. In your first 3 months with us, we are in phase one, recover. So what are we doing when we're recovering? You couldn't reach your goal, which is why you came to us. Most oftentimes, you want to lose weight, lose fat. We're undoing metabolic damage that you've done. You've either undereaten, you've overeaten, and so now we need to calibrate what you're doing. So for the first 6 weeks, fat loss calibration. So we're figuring out what works for you, what does not work for you. And then once we figure that out, we go into fat loss acceleration, which is phase two of recover, where we're putting the pedal to the metal. We figured out what's working. Now let's give it all the gas and really start losing this fat. That's phase one. This takes about 3 months. All right. So 3 months, you're in a fat loss phase. Then we're going to go along this roadmap. Okay. We're at reset now. Some of you are in this reset phase where we're establishing a new set point. All right. Awesome. We've been in a calorie deficit for a while. Let's start our reverse diet here, increasing calories, which increases your metabolism, doing so very slowly. So that way we do not put on fat. We can increase your maintenance, right? Would you rather eat 1,500 calories or 2,000 calories and be the same exact weight? Who wouldn't want to eat more and have more wiggle room, right? That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get you back to eating more food, but also doing so in a way that's not putting on fat, that's going to fuel your muscle building process. And it's going to keep your metabolism going so you continue to keep the results that you've worked hard for during the fat loss phase. Once we're coming around here, this is your 6 months. So for those of you continuing past 6 months, for those continuing, past 3 months here, now we're on to months 9. So the next 3 months are going to be your refinement phase where we're leaning out without restriction. Now, you're counting calories here. Eventually, you're not going to need to count the calories, and we're going to teach you habitually how to eat and integrating all of this into your lifestyle so that way you're not weighing everything you put in your mouth for the entire rest of your life. Because to be honest, who wants to do that, right? So that's our refinement phase. And then finally, we have our last phase, which is about 3 months, where we're maintaining and you're flourishing now from all this work over the past 9 months. Boom, we finished up at 1 year. So from day 1 to 365, this is your roadmap being in the program. When is it necessary? When should we start this reverse diet? When you reach your weight loss goal, all right? You come in, you weigh 200 pounds, you want to weigh 150. Amazing. We hit this 150. Now what? Okay, let's work on building muscle, getting leaner, getting more tone. You need to slowly work up and out of a calorie deficit in a controlled way so you don't regain that fat. The other option, when your body stops losing weight. Some of you may have experienced this, but we're in a calorie deficit. You start to plateau for a few weeks. You swear your cardio is great. You're getting in enough water. You're sleeping. You're eating enough protein. Those are all the boxes. So that means metabolism needs to change. Something's going on here. So if we have you at this low of calories and your body's saying, I don't like this. All right, time to start working up a little bit. Let's restore that metabolic rate so eventually we can start being in a deficit again. When you can't stick to your deficit, right? Man, I feel so weak. I feel like so lack of energy, or I'm just hungry all the time. I feel blah. I'm not motivated to do anything. All right, it's not working for you, okay? So if you can't stick to it, then there's no point in just telling you, hey, just dig through it, because this has to be an enjoyable process. So there's no sense in down-regulating your metabolism if you're not able to stick to the protocols. And the last one, similarly, when your body's stressed. If you can't sleep, your hunger signals are all over the place, you're super fatigued, etc. So these are your red flags as to, all right, let's start this reverse diet. What are the benefits of reverse dieting? So 1, increased metabolism, right? Everyone's always, when you get older, your metabolism slowing down, what should you do? Boom, reverse diet. Let's start eating more after being in a deficit, so that way our body can start functioning and we feel 10 times better. We have more energy, more food, and you're going to perform better in the gym. You're going to build muscle faster, right? Our muscles love to eat. I get asked all the time, how do you eat so much? I have a good amount of muscle on me. I've been doing this for a long time, and muscles need food. So if you're not feeding yourself and you're in a calorie deficit for too long, these muscles are going to waste away because you're not fueling it for what it needs. And so that's why people will say, hey, in your fat loss phase, it's harder to build muscle. That is true. It's not impossible. It's just harder because you're not eating as much calories to fuel those great, strong workouts, feeling super strong, and giving the muscle what it needs to ultimately grow. Great for regulating the hormones that I talked about. Long-term strategy, it is fantastic when you're talking about sustainability. And you're just going to have more energy. Like I said, the more carbs you eat, the more food you eat, you just have more energy, as long as it's the good food, obviously. And that's what we all want, right? We want to be happy, healthy, full of energy, and strong as heck.